talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head.
So Erica, like where you're sitting. Better faces, so personal.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erica Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Wednesday, the 19th of November 2025, and you are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. Let's look at stories that are making the headlines this evening. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has promoted Lieutenant General Emmanuel Matatu to the rank of general and appointed him as the commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, effective 21 November 2025. Stay tuned for details on the key military appointments. We shall also give you details on the commissioning of the new $200 million cut rack tobacco processing plant in Lochinvar, Harare, by President Mnangagwa earlier today. The plant positions Zimbabwe as a regional leader in tobacco processing and value addition. The Zimbabwe Newspapers Group has moved into the digital era, ensuring that its quality journalism can reach far more people and is accessible to both new and old audiences. Information Minister Dr. Jennifer Nguswere today commissioned the media group's new integrated digital newsroom. That story coming up later in the bulletin. And in sport, Warriors coach Marion Marinika says his door is open to all players who are ready to fight for a place in his squad. Our top story this evening, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, acting in terms of Section 216, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, as read with Section 7, subsection 1, and 8, subsection 2 of the Defense Act, Chapter 11.02, has promoted Lieutenant General Emmanuel Matatu to the rank of general and appointed him as commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, effective 21 November 2025. The appointment follows the retirement of General Philip Valerio Sibanda. President Mnangagwa, also acting in terms of subsection 216, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, is read with sections 11, subsection 1A, and 11, subsection 4 of the Defense Act, Chapter 11.02, also promoted Major General Asha Walter Tapfumane to the rank of Lieutenant General and will assume the role of Commander of the Zimbabwe National Army, thus effective the 25th of November 2025. The Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Dr. Martin Rushwaya, announced the changes in a statement earlier this Wednesday evening. Now, earlier in the day, President Emmerson Mnangagwa commissioned the multi-million-dollar cut-rake processors plant in Harare, a key step in Zimbabwe's drive toward industrialization, value addition, and export-led growth. The facility can process 3 million kilograms of cut-rake tobacco for export each month and produce up to 60,000 cigarette master cases, boosting earnings from one of the country's top foreign currency earners. We get more from our correspondent, Melissa Chachkobo.
Zimbabwe is the largest producer of tobacco in Africa and ranks 6th globally. For long, we've been exporting our tobacco in raw form, but this may soon change.
The 1.2 billion earned by tobacco farmers from 355 million kgs transformed into cut-rake has potential to increase 4 times in value. When processed into cigarettes, it is estimated to be 10 times. Cut-rake Processors' new facility comes at a strategic time. Just as Zimbabwe surpassed its tobacco output target of 355 million kgs in the 2024-2025 season, authorities are now focusing on beneficiation and value addition to maximize earnings. President Emmerson Mnangagwa said the plant will push Zimbabwe as an emerging exporter of high-value finished tobacco products.
Under my leadership, government has placed industrialization, modernization, value addition, and export-led growth at the core of our national development agenda and towards our quest to achieve Vision 2030.
The president also emphasized the importance of policies that expand value chains, attract investment, and stimulate private sector-led growth, noting that the government continues to accelerate the ease of doing business to ensure private sector complements Zimbabwe's economic growth agenda.
Through this ongoing regulatory reform agenda, we are determined to ensure that no investment is hindered by bureaucratic red tape in Zimbabwe.
CRP has been described as the largest tobacco processing factory and warehousing facility in Africa. Agriculture authorities say it could enhance Zimbabwe's beneficiation and value addition targets.
Value addition and beneficiation excellence is increased to about 11%. But short of the 30%, but certainly we now have found the method and we must accelerate the momentum.
The new plant will feature both primary manufacturing department and secondary manufacturing department processing lines.
Since inception, Cartrack Processors has expanded its customer base, both local and for export. We've improved our technology and built a reputation for excellence in Cartrack tobacco processing. Each step of that journey has been guided by one key principle: value creation through local processing.
The 2025 tobacco selling season was a success, with farmers raking in more than $1 billion in earnings. Now, with value addition put in place, Zimbabwe could see itself raking in more foreign currency. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
Now, heavy rains that pounded Harare on Monday have once again exposed deep-rooted problems in the capital's drainage infrastructure. What should have been a routine downpour quickly turned into widespread flash flooding, leaving residents frustrated and accusing the Harare City Council of chronic neglect. Our correspondent Talent Gore has more in the following report.
We are in downtown Harare, and as you can see just behind me, we have a drainage system that is not working, and the shop owners who are close to this drainage system are saying that when heavy rains pour, actually the water will actually flow into their shops, and they have tried to get in contact with the city council, but they have not responded. But the city of Harare is blaming vendors, saying that they are the ones who are responsible for blocking these drainage systems.
The sound of rushing water, the frustration urged on the faces of pedestrians as they navigate the streets of Harare, a familiar scene played out again. That was the situation as Harare streets turned to streams earlier this week as blocked drains failed to cope with the downpour. Residents agree that this is now a seasonal crisis, but one they believe is preventable if the city fathers prioritized maintenance. The question when everyone sleeps, when will the city take action?
Tokumbirawo kune vanhu vanogona kugadzirisa migwagwa iyi because pakona paabakoni and Cameroon hapasisina kufamba kwemvura kwakanaka nokuti madrainage system acho akabloka, saka anotoda kuvhurwa kuitira kuti mvura idi ifambe. Waisiyawo wakavhara pamusoro kuitira kuti vanhu vasatsike vaipinda pai mugomba.
Arikukanganisa because tiri kukwanisa kuti tiende uko, hatisakwanisa kuti ndakutochinja direction instead of ndiende uko. Saka dai vaita kuti madrain aita akwanisa kuti afambise mvura ndokuti basa rifambewo zvakanaka.
This is another example of a drainage system that is not functioning within the Harare CBD. And as you can see, residents are struggling to actually make their way through. They are having to go all the way around just to pass through.
So there's a need for routine. It's not a once-off activity as they has been doing in the past. So it needs to be a routine process where they unclog these waterways or these drainage systems, so that at the end of the day, when it rains, we don't see flood.
One of the major causes are the vendors, night vendors. They dump rubbish in our drainage systems. So we need to get rid of vendors first and foremost. But having said that, our technical teams have been clearing the drainage systems for the past few months.
The council points fingers at vendors for contributing to the problem by using drainage systems as storage spaces and dumping sites, clogging them and worsening flooding in the CBD.
The vendors will still come and dump their rubbish there and block our drainage systems. So, as I said, we have to get rid of vendors. But yesterday there was some heavy rain, and we took advantage of that to identify flash points, to identify problem areas where we need to work on. So today, they are working on all drainage systems.
The flooding comes as the local authority battles other service delivery challenges, including the mounting crisis of solid waste management. As rains continue, residents fear more flash flooding lies ahead unless urgent action is taken to clear drainage system and enforce proper urban planning. Talent Gore, ZTN Prime in Harare.
Now, Information Minister Dr. Jenfan Muswere this Wednesday officially opened the Zimpapers integrated newsroom at Herald House, cutting the ribbon on a commemorative plaque highlighting the media house's commitment to a modern and technology-driven newsroom. Our correspondent Iban Mabunda gives us more.
The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Dr. Jenfan Muswere, presided over the Zimpapers' newly integrated newsroom, a bold step toward digitalization as Zimbabwe's largest media establishment launches itself into its digital-first era. The ceremony drew key players from across Zimbabwe's media landscape, all gathered to witness the unveiling of a state-of-the-art integrated digital newsroom designed to redefine how stories are produced, shared, and consumed. The event began with a guided tour of the new digital hub, a sleek, modern space anchored by an integrated superdesk where reporters, editors, producers, and digital teams converge.
We also have inject in this system operates as intake and output. So the whole newsroom is the intake, like a content factory. They manufacture stories.
As part of the tour, Minister Muswere, flanked by his deputy Ompile Marupi, Permanent Secretary Nick Mangwana, and Zimpapers executives led the ribbon-cutting ceremony, symbolically opening the next chapter for the conglomerate media firm. In his keynote address, Dr. Muswere applauded Zimpapers for embracing innovation and investing in tools that meet the demands of today's fast-paced digital news environment.
This platform gives us and amplifies our responsibility as an institution to inform, to educate, and to entertain the nation. With the use of artificial intelligence, information science, the capacity and the power to be able to utilize data analytics.
Listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, Zimpapers Limited remains Zimbabwe's most diversified media establishment with a footprint that spans across radio and television broadcasting, print as well as digital media. The Zimpapers stable houses several establishments including newspapers, the Sunday Mail, the Herald, H Metro, B Metro, Sunday News, Manika Post, Chronicle, Kwaeda, the list of course being interminable, 4 radio stations, Capitalk FM, Star FM, Diamond FM, Platinum FM, as well as a television station, ZTN Prime. Board Chair Doreen Sibanda noted that this new digital newsroom positions Zimpapers to compete more effectively at regional and global levels, ensuring the group remains ahead of evolving media trends.
This newsroom is designed to serve every Zimbabwean, urban and rural, ensuring access to accurate and reliable information that empowers communities and drives development.
Acting CEO William Chikoto added that the Superdesk will significantly boost efficiency, enabling seamless cross-platform collaboration, breaking the traditional silos between different platforms.
The newsroom that we are launching today is the heartbeat of that future. It is where technology meets journalism, where speed meets credibility, and where innovation meets tradition. We have a long tradition of journalism.
Now, with its new digital newsroom now fully operational, Zimpapers Limited continues to engage with its tens of millions of followers while contributing immensely to Zimbabwe's broad economic transformation agenda. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Ibn Mabunda, The Herald House, Harare.
Now, still to come on Newsplus, we have details on the 6 children who died along other Zimbabweans in Makhado last month. We have details on their repatriation after this.
Dear Santa, all I want this holiday
is special family time.
Whenever you come around family, you can find love.
To go on an adventure.
Tickets to every game.
Some giggles.
And a puppy.
Let's go!
Yippee!
This holiday, simply stay connected and get all you want on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Welcome back. You're still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, relatives of the 6 children who died along with 30 other Zimbabweans in a horrific bus accident in Makhado last month have finally found peace and closure following the completion of the DNA testing to identify their children. A somber mood engulfed Beitbridge this evening as the convoy of 6 hearses rolled through the border post carrying the bodies of the 6 miners. They were escorted by Zimbabwe's Consul General to South Africa, Eria Piri, and embassy staff, and were received by the local Civil Protection Committee members. ZTN Prime spoke to Eria Piri on the repatriation process.
To start with, we want to thank the government of Zimbabwe, who are mobilized and deployed resources towards the repatriation of our nationals who perished in the DNC bus disaster. The first process included the repatriation of the first 30 adults who have since been repatriated to Zimbabwe, and now they have since been buried. We are now completing the process by repatriating the children. The process in repatriating the parents, we had to use the fingerprint process in identifying them and later use the physical identification. But for the children, because they have not been registered on our civic registry system, we had to use the DNA system, which took at least 2 to 3 weeks. Now we have the South African government, through their forensic and pathology department, completed the process and submitted the results to us as the government of Zimbabwe. Then we had to, all the 6 were positively identified as Zimbabwean children. So that is when we commenced the process of repatriating them.
The following story looks at a woman's journey to a life-saving surgery, a journey riddled with pain, stigma, superstition, financial strain, and ultimately relief. For 5 years, Melody Ndlovu lived with a mysterious abdominal growth that slowly took over her body and her life. Our correspondent Adelaide Chuma spoke to Melody soon after she had the 50-kilogram tumor removed by doctors at Impilo Central Hospital in Layo.
From hell and back. That perhaps sums up Melody Ndlovu's struggle for the past 5 years. It all started in 2020. Her period stopped, so she thought she was pregnant, but she was not. The clinic said it might be fibroids. Her stomach kept growing. She tried consulting prophets, but there was no sweet melody for her ears. As the swelling worsened, so did the rumors. Instead of support, Melody faced humiliation. Some in her neighbors accused her of having an affair with a locked married man, and her swelling stomach was the curse.
Ndengopuwa mnamato pamwe nokupuwa mishonga yechivanhu ndichishandisa ndichirutsa zviramba singashandi.
The emotional toll was crushing. The physical pain was constant. The costs of visiting clinics and traditional healers drained her family. And the mass only grew heavier until she could barely walk or stand.
Ndikaenda ku-UBH vakandinyorera scan iri special kutauni, ndikashayiwa mari vaida 360 US kuti vandiite scan. Ndikabva ndadzokera futi kumba, tikanogara futi tichingofamba seizvozvo futi. Vamwe vachiti zvinopera, vamwe vachiti makagadzirwa nemukadzi womuridzi, munofanirwa kunokumbira ruregerero kuti ndokuti zvipere. Saka taingotsvaga mari futi noti ndandinamboendako kumusha kwacho.
The whole episode destroyed her social life. With nowhere else to turn, the Department of Social Welfare stepped in. They assessed her situation, recognized the urgency, and facilitated her transfer to Mpilo, where specialists could finally intervene.
Ndakatadza kudzidzisa mwana, ndine mwana 1. Saka ndambonogara kwababa vake. Ndakangomitisiwa ndikabva ndaenda kumba ndikanogara kumba. Kubva pose papo pandakabetserwa baba vake hapana kana betsera vakamboita. Saka ndinda ndichimudzidzisa namai.
Here, a team of surgeons prepared for a complex operation, confronting a tumor weighing more than 50 kilograms, a mass so large it threatened her lungs, kidneys, and bowel function. Lead surgeon Dr. Elton Sengurai said when they got into theater, they saw it was an ovarian tumor.
It was actually filling the whole abdomen and then also pushing on the chest. Remember, I said actually the lungs were actually compressed. It was pushing the lungs upwards. That's how big it was.
Dr. Sengurai said with the 50-kilo mass in her, chances to conceive and carry a baby full term had been very slim. The doctors described her as lucky, saying if the tumor had continued growing, more complications would have been met.
If it hadn't been removed, it was still going to grow. As I had already said, it was pressing on the lungs, so she also had some difficulties in breathing, and also pressing on the bowels, so which means there was problems with passage of stools and passage of urine. So if it had continued to grow, basically at one point, she was going to fail to pass stools at all and urine at all.
For Melody, the procedure was more than a medical intervention. It was a rebirth. For the first time in 5 years, she can breathe comfortably, sit up without pain, and imagine a future beyond fear and stigma. Doctors say her recovery is progressing well, and she will remain under close monitoring here at Mpilo Central Hospital. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Now, still talking about matters to do with health, more than 379 kilometers from the capital Harare, a veteran doctor and preacher, Zindoga Johnson Bungu, is committed to ensuring that the vulnerable community of Bikita district in Masvingo province has access to quality health services. He believes his job is a calling and that he was sent by God to serve both the flesh and the soul. We get more from ZTN Prime correspondent Mirai Singo, who was at Mashoko Christian Hospital in Bikita recently.
In a world where the seen and unseen coexist, one man navigates the delicate balance between physical and spiritual healing. Meet Dr. Zindoga Bungu, a man of dual callings, affectionately known as the preacher, a title he wears with humility and devotion. With a career spanning over 4 decades, this 70-year-old medical veteran has been a beacon of hope for countless souls.
I do what I do, but most of it is preaching by what I do. So when I talk to my patients, when I treat my patients, really I cannot push the Bible away.
His life is fascinating, woven with threads of medicine and ministry, a true testament to his unwavering faith. His inspiration lies in saving a vulnerable community, ensuring that people of Bikita and surrounding districts like Zaka have access to quality healthcare services.
Delivering babies of poor people. The women we deliver here could not go to Masvingo. They don't have the money to go to Masvingo. Even most of our patients, they cannot go to Masvingo, which is our provincial hospital.
Dr. Bongo's journey in preaching and healing has been a masterclass in perseverance and conviction. He still vividly recalls some of the complex surgeries he has done over the years.
Pana mudzimai wakauya pano tikamuzvarisa. Tamuzvarisa akazvara mwana ane ura stomach susu panze. Saka ndakamusona mwana iyi ndobva apona. About 5 years, about 5-6 years ago, mwana iyeye ndakamuona pana auya akamira navamwe madzimai vane nhumbu. Ndobva andibvunza kuti muchandirangarira here doctor? Ndikati handikurangariri, ndakakuona kupi? Ndobva andiudza kuti 21 years ago.
His true passion lies in the pulpit, where he tends to the spiritual wounds of his patients. The good doctor has served at this hospital since 1986. Most of the babies he has delivered are now adults. He says he continues to be guided by the hospital motto, which reads, "We preach, teach, and heal." Soon, he will hang up his boots, but his spiritual journey will continue, inspiring and guiding those who seek solace in the unseen. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Mirira Nsingo.
Now, Zimbabwean author and global speaker Tatinda Maturongo has released her latest literary offering titled The Waiting Wife. The book was launched at a colorful family event in Harare over the weekend, drawing readers, community leaders, and young couples yearning for guidance on love and marriage.
Against a backdrop of rising divorce rates and increasingly fragile family structures, Tatinda Maturongo says a new book, The Waiting Wife, could not have come at a better time. The book is being described as both a mirror and a remedy, challenging society to rethink its approach to courtship, relationships, and marriage. Maturongo, known for her inspirational work and global speaking engagements, says the book explores the importance of patience, especially in a fast-paced world where relationships often crumble under pressure.
This book is about how you prepare yourself during the waiting season. There's more to that. There's more to marriage. There's more to having a partner than pictures. But nowadays, the generation that we're in, we more oftenly pictures, videos. We want content more than reality.
Written by a youthful author for a predominantly youthful audience, The Waiting Wife also serves as an agent call to elders, urging them to reclaim their place as guides and custodians of moral values in the home.
It's called The Waiting Wife Bible. That's why you see it's quite huge. You need to read it every day. You need it to sink into you. So that when you make a decision to meet a partner, you don't make a wrong one. You make the right decision.
With many young couples struggling with expectations, conflict and pressure, readers say the book offers a timely and refreshing perspective on navigating relationships with wisdom and emotional maturity.
Because when I they're committing, we're not clock here. You know the clock, change on pressure. Don't. Hey, I'm getting old. How old are you? I'm 27. You're not old. I'm not gonna marry, I'm not gonna cheat, I'm not gonna develop a job or what I'm ready. For what?
Tatinda Maturongo hopes The Waiting Wife will spark deeper conversations within families and communities, helping rebuild the strength of Zimbabwean marriages.
Well, you are watching Newsplus. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
welcome wherever you are. And Marmoush, room to shoot. And he well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Sino! Scott's got to be careful. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, Shamwari Mwanaskana, an organization that lobbies for the rights of girls, is constructing a one-stop center in Seke District, which is set to cater for 60 victims of gender-based violence. The Safe Haven, Tadiroyedu, will offer boarding facilities, social and psychological support, vocational skills training, and legal aid. Executive Assistant of the organization, Paidamoy Masarure, said that the one-stop center will improve the reporting of abuse cases, enhance justice, and help survivors access medical services.
At Shamwari Mwanaskana, we are committed to supporting, protecting, and empowering the girl child. This is why we established our Tadiroyedu One-Stop Empowerment Center in Seke Rural, which is a safe haven for girls under 18 who have survived abuse, especially sexual abuse. This one-stop center will provide essential protecting and healing services under one roof. Those include safe boarding facilities, social cycle support through our counseling unity, vocational skills training, and legal aid. This center is still under construction. Therefore, we are calling on partners, well-wishers, the community, and everyone who believes in protecting the girl child to make this vision a reality. So far, we have received support from Chinese Embassy, Japanese Embassy, UAE, and recently we got support from Nichols Foundation.
Now look at news from beyond our borders. Eswatini's government has confirmed that it received $5.1 million from the Trump administration for accepting people deported from the US as part of a hardline approach toward immigration. The Southern African Kingdom, led by King Mswati III, has come in for heavy criticism from rights groups for striking the deportation deal with President Donald Trump's government. Questioned in Parliament about the deal on Monday, Eswatini's Finance Minister Neo Richbeck confirmed the sum received from the United States. Cape Verde, Mauritius, and Seychelles have eliminated measles and rubella, becoming the first sub-Saharan countries to attain this milestone. The achievements were confirmed by the African Regional Verification Commission for Measles and Rubella Elimination, a WHO-established body responsible for assessing whether countries have interrupted transmission. The three island states join 94 countries to have eliminated measles and 133 in eliminating rubella. The continent has been advised to build on this success so that every child in Africa can grow up healthy and protected. Now, in Accra, African dignitaries gathered on Tuesday for the Pan-African Progressive Forces Conference as delegates called for unity and sovereignty. Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama also emphasized that the fight for Africa's dignity includes climate change action, stating that the region demands and deserves both development and sustainability. The Pan-African Congress aimed to redefine Pan-Africanism in a changing world by strengthening institutions like the African Union, promoting Pan-African education and media, advocating for local resource ownership and climate-conscious development, and collaborating with the Global South to support a multipolar world order.
We are confronted by the same enemy that was being confronted by our forebearers 80 years ago. In fact, 80 years ago is also when the peoples of the world defeated fascism and ended what was the brutality of a system. But that system continued. We see that system as it strangles the Cuban people, as it victimizes the Venezuelan people, as it kills our Sudanese brothers and sisters. So the urgency of this conference, the urgency of this discussion, is not an academic discussion. It is a political discussion about the renewal of our struggles the renewal of our commitments, and some things that we cannot achieve individually, but once we come together, as I hope we will over the next few days, we will be able to say that we are making new strides in bringing freedom to the people of the African continent.
Ghana has always been the heartbeat of the Pan-African agenda, and under our renewed leadership, we continue to uphold the principles that guided Nkrumah and his contemporaries. Our vision for a reset Ghana is inseparable from the vision of a reset Africa, an Africa that owns its own development, mobilizes its resources, and believes in its collective strength. We're deepening our commitment to running an economy that creates opportunities for all our people, a fair and transparent governance system that respects the rights and dignity of labor, a global Africa that negotiates from a position of strategic unity.
In Gabon, the Specialized Criminal Court has delivered a landmark verdict. 9 former collaborators of Sylvia and Noureddini Bongo were sentenced to between 2 and 15 years in prison for massive embezzlement of public funds, corruption, and money laundering. This ruling comes just 6 days after Sylvia and Noureddini Bongo themselves were sentenced in absentia to 20 years of criminal imprisonment. Arrested during the 2023 coup, the group was accused of helping divert colossal sums from public coffers. Prosecutors described a vast scheme in which the people's money was taken, recycled, laundered, and reinvested in disconnected luxury throughout Ali Bongo's 14-year rule. Now, the EU Council President Antonio Costa says the EU's enlargement to Ukraine, Moldova, and Western Balkan states is crucial for strengthening the Union as a geopolitical player. Montenegro, Albania, Ukraine, and Moldova were declared the frontrunners in the EU's 2025 assessment, which tracks progress on reforms over the past 12 months. Serbia, North Macedonia, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Turkey had a mixed outlook, while Georgia's accession process was described as a de facto halted.
In today's multipolar world, only a stronger and united European Union is prepared to defend its interests and values, especially when facing the growing influence of China and Russia. In this multipolar world, only a reliable and predictable European Union with a network of partners will be able to enhance its influence and defend the international rules-based order. The next enlargement to Ukraine, to Moldova and the Western Balkans is crucial for strengthening our union as a geopolitical player. As Europe's most visionary grand strategy, enlargement is the best investment we can make today for the future of Europe.
When Newsplus comes back, we take a look at what's happening on the business front. Stay with us.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
In our look at business news tonight, Finance Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube today presided over the groundbreaking ceremony of the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority's first ever purpose-built headquarters in Mount Pleasant, Harare. Minister Ncube hailed the development, which he described as a major step toward modernizing the country's revenue systems.
Zimbabwe's development trajectory in 2026 requires $9 billion. And given the current GDP of $45 billion, Professor Ncube is confident that domestic resource mobilization will achieve the target. Minister Ncube also applauded the Revenue Authority for surpassing its collection target last year, mobilizing $8 billion.
Back in 2019, we were only receiving $2.7 billion in revenue. 2.7 billion. A third of which was, the cost of the Harare budget withdrawal. Third of the budget gone, right? 2.7 billion. Do you know how much Zimra collected last year? 8 billion.
The new Zimra headquarters will be a modern, digitally enhanced and environmentally friendly structure that stand as a legacy for future generations. For years, Zimra has operated from leased offices, and Professor Ncube believes the development is also a commitment to the welfare of workers.
So we need an environment of prestige, an environment of respect, a tranquil environment. Treasury, ourselves at Zimra, let's keep improving working conditions of our staff.
The minister hinted at strengthened collaboration between local authorities and Zimra, particularly in integrating the informal sector into the national fiscus, an initiative expected to broaden the government's revenue base.
This informalities like this, you find that some of these small businesses are informal to Zimra, but formal to city councils. Why? Because for them to trade, they need some kind of vendor license. It's cheaper for you to pay for the license than to bribe a policeman every day if you don't have a license, right? They are formal to local authorities, but informal to Zimra. There lies a solution called collaboration.
Adding to the celebrations, Zimra was certified ISO 9000 of 2001, making it the fourth revenue authority in Africa to attain this international standard of quality management.
In 2025, they came back, SARS came back and checked for the closure of these non-conformities. Went back to the stations, went back to the outlier stations, and finally on the 12th of November, we actually got our certificate.
With construction of the headquarters expected to be completed by 2030, the project aligns with national vision, including institutional reform, digital transformation, and improved public service delivery. For Zimra, the new headquarters, ISO certification, and strengthened policy direction signals a new chapter, one anchored on innovation, integrity, and enhanced national revenue mobilization. Tavaras Bochiwe for ZTN Prime.
Now, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Felix Mona, has called on parastatals under his ministry to adopt innovative approaches in their operations as the country prepares to transition into the National Development Strategy 2 phase. The minister was speaking to journalists on the sidelines of the ministry's public entities corporate governance meeting underway in Mlayo.
And we are trying to also align our vision of the ministry, the mission statement, so that we then collaborate with the greater picture of the Vision 2030 agenda. And the idea behind is then to migrate from the usual way of doing business, where we need to be real and pragmatic in terms of our approach. How then do we respond to the people of Zimbabwe in terms of addressing their needs? And in this particular case, looking at the Ministry of Transport, where we superintend over roads, rail, airspace, and the water bodies. So the idea behind and the short cause of this meeting is to then align ourselves to the Public Entities and Corporate Governance Act, which actually mandates the ministers to meet twice a year in terms of meeting the boards of parastatals, so that you synchronize the agenda of the parastatal in terms of their mission, their vision, to the parent ministry.
Now, among the entities under the ministry are the Central Mechanical Engineering Department, Zimbabwe National Road Administration, Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, Airports Company of Zimbabwe, National Handling Services, Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, and Air Zimbabwe. Minister Mona engaged several entities under his ministry, this including CMED, Zinara, TSCZ, ACZ, NHS, CARS in Zimbabwe, as they aligned their strategies with national targets under NDS2.
We've seen the shift in culture of public entities, where at times they will not comply to the dictates of corporate governance, even to submit reports as enshrined in the Constitution or also under Public Finance Management Act. But we've seen, alas now, where we are saying if they are parastatals, they must stick to their core business. And we have seen that we've got a number of parastatals in our midst, and I can cite.
And now for some entertainment news. Now, Kenelminio Tambo Baloyi Chiwenga, the national chairperson of the Miss Universe Zimbabwe organization, has been selected as one of the official judges for this year's Miss Universe pageant in Thailand. Kenel Baloyi Chiwenga joins an elite panel of global industry experts, fashion executives, former beauty queens, and cultural ambassadors who will determine the next Miss Universe from a field of more than 80 contestants. Speaking after her confirmation as a judge, Kenel Baloyi Chiwenga expressed her honor at representing Zimbabwe on such a revered international platform.
Being selected a judge for the Miss Universe finals is an honor, not only for Zimbabwe, not only for me, but for Africa as a whole, because it means that we are being represented as Africa in the judgment and decision-making table. So it means a lot to us, it means a lot to the girl child, and it means a lot to the modeling industry in general. So I'm very excited.
Meanwhile, Miss Universe Zimbabwe Lashanda Moyos has officially unveiled her national costume for the 2025 Miss Universe pageant, a dramatic, flame-kissed masterpiece titled Born of the Baobab, Forged in Flame. The reveal has instantly ignited excitement among fans, designers, and pageant enthusiasts across the world, with many calling it one of Zimbabwe's most powerful costume concepts to date. Unveiled in Bangkok ahead of the National Costume Show, the design pays homage to the legendary baobab tree, a symbol of wisdom, resilience, and ancestral presence in Zimbabwean culture. Now, still in entertainment, Lolo Sky is a Zimbabwean singer-songwriter and poet and has been blending soulful music with neo-soul depth. Born Laura Siwawa in 1994, her music reflects personal experiences and stories as she likes to use storytelling to connect people to her music. She shared part of her musical journey in an interview with ZTN Prime's Morning Rush.
What inspired me would be the greats like Etta James, Nina Simone, Lyra even. I think I just always resonated with that jazz, neo-soul type of music. I've got a beautiful show coming up on the 5th of December. It's called Sky at Dusk. It will be happening at Alliance Francaise, and that's where I would really tell most of my stories in a very intimate and conversational type of space. So people should really look out for that one. And then I also have a couple of collaborations coming through as well. I will be working with Kuda Rice, a beautiful poet as well. There's an event that he's curating on the 12th of December.
Now let us listen to a snippet of one of her songs, Indlela. And now a deep dive into what's happening in the world of sport. Now in sport, we start off with some football. Warriors head coach Marin Marinika says the door is open for all as the nation prepares to take part in the AFCON finals next month. With a month to go before the continental showpiece, Marinika called on all players to work hard so that they can be able to make the final squad.
obviously, I wish them, everyone, all the best luck, and I wish them, to work hard, to keep hard. The door is open to anyone. Whatever, their performance they had here, the door hasn't closed to anyone either. The same thing like players here. So any Zimbabwe player, whatever age, whatever clubs they play, as long as we think that would be able to help us, the door is open.
Still in football, the Zimbabwe Football Association has rolled out a new strategy focused on long-term growth as it seeks to transform the landscape of women's football in the country. The initiative is guided by 5 pillars boosting participation levels, elevating the game's profile, promoting excellence on and off the field, laying firm developmental foundations, and enhancing the efficiency of administrative systems. ZIFA Secretary General Yvonne Mapika-Manwa says the association has long-term plans with women's football, and the strategy will go a long way in making sure the game grows on the women's side.
I think just the fact that we brought everybody here together indicates how important it is to us. Women's football is not a side item, it is a part of the program. And I think when we were talking there, we said it's part of our long-term development plan for ZIFA. So it's a critical step in moving in the right direction. The strategy then shapes how we're going to move forward, and everybody's aware of how we are going to move forward. Everybody is in the know. We've shared the document, we've shared what we think is important, and it's not just a ZIFA thing. It's a stakeholder document, because we went around the country, we spoke to everybody from the leagues, from women's football, the legends, the former players, the coaches, and everyone who's involved in football administration in the women's side of the game. So it's a Zimbabwean document, it's a Zimbabwean football document that incorporates everybody.
Zimbabwe Women's Premier Soccer League chairperson Chidochi Sondo says the women's football strategy is important as it helps them start coming up with proper structures that will help in the growth and the development of the game in the country.
It's important for the Zimbabwe Women Premier Soccer League because for a very long time we've been unable to align to anything. And so this launch is a platform for us to also start building around structures that will help to develop women's football.
Now in rugby, Zimbabwe will play in the inaugural World Rugby Nations Cup, which kicks off next year. The tournament is part of World Rugby's plans to help emerging nations prepare for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. The Sables are among 12 nations in the World Cup Nations Cup, which includes Canada, Chile, Georgia, Hong Kong, Portugal, Romania, Spain, Tonga, Uruguay, USA, and the 12th participant to be determined after the final playoffs for the Rugby World Cup. The competition is the second tier of World Rugby's global calendar overhaul, sitting beneath the Elite National Championship, which will feature teams from the Six Nations and the Rugby Championship. Matches will be played between July and November on a biennial basis. Now, we spoke to Zimpapers Sports Hub rugby expert Rumbo Chakoreka, who unpacked the significance of the Nations Cup to the Sables.
Well, I think it's going to be an absolute worldie, I would say, for lack of a better term, for the Sables. It's going to be a possible opportunity for us to attract players whom we haven't normally attracted across the globe that are actually playing rugby and doing very well. I think it's also going to be an opportunity for some of the local squad players to actually get an opportunity to be in the Sables starting lineup, because we're going to be playing 6 tests next year, and in order for you to be able to play in those matches, have the recovery, also have enough cover for injuries, I think Pete Bernardi needs a minimum of 45 players in his working squad in order to go forward. And you can't fund, or you can't have all of them actually coming from outside the country. You need maybe the bulk of them actually coming from the local base. So this is a great big opportunity for our local players to actually test their mettle against international opposition.
Now let's talk swimming. The Harare City Council partnered with the Harare Amateur Swimming for a gala held at the Mufakose pools, with the initiative aimed at giving every talent an opportunity to shine. Harare Amateur Swimming Chairperson Rumizai Maobele gave credit to the City Fathers for extending their hand in making sure that those living in high-density suburbs also get a chance to showcase their talents.
We have been in partnership with the City of Harare for a long time now. We have worked with them with the Les Brown Pool in town, where we host most of our galas. So Harare is now looking at spreading its wings, Harare Swimming, spreading its wings in the city, and that is how we have come to Mfakose now. And again, City of Harare have opened this facility to us, and we are very grateful to them. They are the custodians of the Mfakose swimming pool. We are here to do a trial on this pool, because the history of this pool shows that it has proven that first times have been made in this pool, where some of our prestigious swimmers swam in this pool around 1998 and made good times for competitions regionally and internationally.
Now, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio on Sport, Farai Jere, is delighted by the initiative by the Harare Amateur Swimming to spread the gospel of swimming to the marginalized communities.
I'm very happy with this move. Sometime this year, we had a tour of the sporting facilities in this country. And what we saw, and the uneven distribution of our sports to everywhere, to every center, it was something which was a cause of a concern. I'm very happy that as we went to Chitungwiza Aquatic Complex, we spoke to them and said, no, why can't you take our swimming to our people in Mfakose, to our people in Chitungwiza? Why is it concentrated in the low density areas? So we are very happy, we are very excited. If you realized in our budget for sports, arts and culture, recreation and culture, we also pushed for the revamping of Chitungwiza Aquatic Complex. So this is actually speaking to the vision of the President, Vision 2030, where we need all these swimming pools to be up and running. All sports courts should actually be part of the move by the President, the benefit from what the President is pushing. So we are very excited with this move.
Now, the tiny Caribbean island of Curacao has become the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup after a goalless draw with Jamaica. The previous record was held by Iceland, who reached the 2018 finals, but Curacao is much smaller with a population of just over 150,000, approximately the same as the population of Gweru. Curacao boss Dick Advocat, who was not at the game for personal reasons, will become the oldest coach at the World Cup, aged 78, beating Otto Reage's record when he was in charge of Greece, aged 71 in the year 2010. And with that, we call it an evening. You are watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. We leave you with a weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.